Thomas is one of the most relatable characters in the entirety of Regular Show. When he was introduced as a broke, basic college kid in his 20s who was working as an intern for free to get college credits. I mean, half the time after he was introduced, he barely even spoke. He was literally just in the background, taking up space. But you know what's crazy? That's kind of why his character worked.
Hey, Thomas?
Not gonna clean your room, dude.
So just imagine how frustrated and disappointed I was when he was a spy.
My name is not Thomas. It is Nikolai, and I am Russian spy.
That Russian spy twist came out of nowhere. Outside of the episode where he was about to get fired, in Thomas Fights Back season 5, episode 37. Look, man, I know I keep farting. Can you not fire me though? I guess I could give you one more shot. There was a little bit of foreshadowing there, but by that point, the writers had already committed to making him a spy. Because I think the spy reveal happened, I think, like, what, 4 or 5 episodes later. That's not really foreshadowing. Now, don't get me wrong, Regular Show is a peak show for sure, but it definitely suffers from character development and also introducing characters, building them up to be something bigger, and then kind of just shitting them out of the story with no explanation. Thomas is probably the most extreme version of that, though. When he was introduced, it's important to point out, when he was introduced, he was not supposed to be exciting. He was intentionally introduced as a boring character. I mean, look how he looks. He wears a gray t-shirt with khaki pants. Now, he first appears in season 4, episode 1, Exit 9B, as a temporary intern at the park. The only things that we know about Thomas for the longest time is that when he doesn't have any noticeable skills, right? He drives an actual soccer mom car, and he's a mama's boy who calls his mom for advice about literally any and everything. So when you inject somebody at face value that's that boring, quote unquote boring, into a cast of crazy characters, his boringness actually is the thing that makes him stand out the most. We have Mordecai, who's a naked bird running around, who can't talk to women to save his life.
Margaret, will you be my girlfriend?
No.
He's not a good employee. But I mean, that's why we like him. That's why we like Mordecai. I mean, he's such a simp that he literally killed Rigby just so Rigby would not go to the movies with Margaret because he was too afraid to ask her to the movies himself.
I'll kill you!
Margaret is probably one of the most frustrating characters I've ever seen in my entire life. The way that she single-handedly nuked CJ and Mordecai's relationship, all but to not end up with him, was crazy to me. She tells him that she can't be in a relationship with him, disappears for 3 to 4 seasons. Mordecai moves on, finally gets with somebody else, has a good relationship with CJ, and then Margaret comes back to confess her love for Mordecai. Mordecai pulls a Mordecai, fumbles the bag with CJ. CJ is written out of the show. And then Margaret pivots and is like, wait a second, now that you're single, I actually don't like you. I just want to be friends. Margaret is one of the worst characters I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Horrible, abysmal. Now, Rigby's not any better. Rigby's a lazy slacker raccoon who sleeps on top of a trampoline. And Rigby's the reason why most of the shenanigans in the earlier seasons, especially, he's the reason why they happen. He's selfish. He makes poor decisions. We have Benson, who's a stick in the mud, middle-aged gumball machine with crazy anger issues, who's always yelling at people, always threatening to fire people, but never actually committing to firing them. I mean, Mordecai and Rigby should have been fired if we're going to be honest. We have Muscle Man, a gross to look at, green ogre, goblin humanoid type creature who's loud, constantly making pranks, and he makes incorrect your mom jokes. That's kind of just his thing. High five goes. And then we have Pops, who's a naive, old, lollipop-headed man that drives a flying car named Carmenita and uses candy instead of money as currency. And then we have Skips, who's a 300-year-old shirtless Yeti who gets around from point A to point B by literally skipping. But the thing is, even though all these characters are crazy, they come together so well. So then when you take someone as normal as Thomas and you throw him in to this concoction of characters. Thomas's normalcy is what makes him stand out the most, and that's okay. That was his role, and that was perfectly fine. So when that quote unquote twist came out of Thomas being a Russian spy, I found it so lazy. And honestly, you can tell while watching the show that that wasn't initially what they planned out Thomas to be. But then, kind of just halfway through, they were like, "Oh, you know what? Let's just make this guy a Russian spy. Why not?" It was just a lazy way to write him out the show. Now, if you want to get rid of Thomas, I mean, that's fine. He wasn't like I said, he wasn't a character that was super grand. The show can go without him. So I don't have an issue with him not being a character, but it's the way they wrote his character out.